Good morning. My name is Chloe Ford and I am in Year 8 at Mount View High School.
Williams.
Good morning. My name is Chloe Ford and I am in Year 8 at Mount View High School. This morning we will be leading a youth-led radio broadcast to celebrate Naidoc Week. Ruth Copeland from Year 8 at Mount View High School will now open our broadcast. Good morning. My name is Chloe Ford and I'm in Year 8 at Mount View High School. This morning we'll be leading a youth-led radio broadcast to celebrate Naidoc Week. Ruth Copeland from Year 9 at Mount View High School will now open our broadcast with an acknowledgement of country.
Good morning, everyone. This morning we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which we are broadcasting from. This morning we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands in which we are broadcasting from today. We acknowledge the 3 language groups in our AECG area and recognise the countries upon which our schools are situated, the Awabakal people, the Wanneroo people and the Darkinjung people. We show respect to our elders past and present along with the leaders of the future who are learning and carrying forward our traditions and culture both at our schools and in the wider community. We extend that respect to the Aboriginal people present and listening today, as well as the non-Aboriginal people, as we continue working together on carrying our culture forward. Now back to you, Chloe. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what Naidoc Week is all about?
Thanks, Ruth. I come from the Kunjal tribe and I'm a proud Kunjal woman. I'm also the Vice President of our Junior Aboriginal Education Consultative Group. For short, we call this the Junior AECG. The Junior AECG is a subcommittee for the Creole One-Eye AECG who work with our school to make our group and activities possible. Mount View High School is very excited to have been invited to collaborate with Sonia Sharp, Aboriginal Community Liaison Officer for the Department of Education, Elkie Johnson and Neve, Walpole from Cessnock City Council and 2CH Radio to honour Naidoc Week by doing this youth-led radio program. Today is the second day of the Naidoc Week when we celebrate the history, culture and achievements of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. The theme for Naidoc this year is Always Was, Always Will Be. This theme highlights the fact that we are the world's oldest civilization and we are spiritually connected to this land and always will be. It acknowledged the hundreds of tribes and cultures across Australia and that we were the first land keepers and carers for our country. This year we celebrate our culture and continue to pass it on to our future generations, just as we have for the past 65,000 plus years. Today I'll be working with Ruth Copeland, Paige Kelly and Tyler Shoe-Smith as we are privileged to interview our special guests who are Uncle Warren Tudgett, local elder and explorer extraordinaire of sacred sites, Rebecca Young, former captain for the Indigenous All-Star team, Cassidy Waters, professional Aboriginal dancer with Dangara Dance Group, and finally Steph L, who is currently writing a book about Indigenous and sacred sites. Now we'll take a break with a song by Island Home.
Started off with soft.
You meant to say bride, like the singer's name, and then
It's
song.
on the say it here. That's what I'm
Going good, girl.
Yeah,
Going good.
I think he did something
But I can't hear this. It's all static. It's completely static and
Take it. Take it. And Cassie Waters. That's okay. That's
It's
all
right.
right. It's just that when the time comes,
Yeah.
you'll be doing Cassidy again.
It's right, I said the same thing twice. We acknowledge.
It sounds perfect. We're down there listening to the radio. It sounds beautiful. You're both
sorry to
speaking
breathe.
so nicely.
So that was all.
I can't hear. I've listened to what you were saying outside because I just can't hear it.
And my aunt is listening to it right now.
Oh, great.
All right, so I'm going to take a quick photo of the three of you for Uncle Warren's because I'll be showing our students. Because what will happen each morning, we've got a little bit of the interviews playing for our whole school in their check-in. And while they're listening to your interview tomorrow or the next day, there'll be a photo on the screen so they see who's talking.
So they should have like
They've
got bits of the songs
So
there.
you're reading.
That's there.
And Chloe's,
That one,
the
the
Chloe's.
top,
The little one.
So that one, and that one, and the four you definitely are playing, and they're just like backups.
So is that what it's
So
called?
that one's
by?
yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
Christina.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is all over it. Okay, can the three of you look up for me for a quick photo?
Can you stand a bit higher?
Yeah, I'm trying. Come here. You scallywag.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, like
Okay, so
Tracy learned what's good things down, and that's.
Just don't be so close to the mic if you're not talking, because you can hear yourself going.
Sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry for talking in the mic.
Okay.
So Chloe's gonna ask me while I'm interviewing you, and then she says, "Great idea, let's hear it from him then." And then I go, "Alright, hi, I'm Warren," and that's when we introduce you.
Introduce me to what?
Introduce you to the radio.
To who?
To the radio.
To what?
To interview
So we can
Speak.
interview you. Yeah.
to the radio.
You told me not to breathe in it. So how am I going to talk in it?
No, I actually said don't be so close if you're not talking.
I was breathing heavily.
Yes, you were.
I was listening to a song this morning.
Like City Ping-pong.
Have you met her?
It's actually on.
Have you met Christina O'Noon?
Who?
Christina O'Noon who sings this song.
No.
I have.
You get all the privileges, don't you?
I met her.
I get all the privileges at my work eating the Italian food, but that's it.
Mm.
Even though they're Indian.
I eat the
She
ham.
she come and sing with me.
Is she?
Yeah. Yeah. I got to meet her.
Nice.
That's cool.
Mm.
I feel like singles don't get so very much these
It's just
The
about to
song's
finish,
almost
Chloe.
finished, yeah.
So if I talk on this distance, I'll hear me.
Yeah, have
When
you
the
got ours
button's pushed,
turned
they're
on?
on.
I
Sorry?
don't know that.
When the button's pushed, they will.
What's that? What button?
The button's over here, you don't have to worry about them.
Oh, thank God for that.
That's in the so we're going good. And the song's about to end.
So Ruth's going to do the interview, is she?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I just gotta say this part.
Yeah, that's fine.
She just stays thinking the whole time.
Oh, how come you get to listen? Don't you laugh?
I don't.
Don't you laugh?
Go ahead.
Now, Ruth, you're a proud Waddy woman and also our Assistant Secretary for our Junior ACG. What interested you in being involved in our Naidoc podcast?
Hi Chloe, I'm proud of my culture and love getting involved in any activities.
Wait a second. For some reason it wasn't coming through. You're right.
Hi Chloe, I'm proud of my culture and love getting involved in any activities where I can.
coming through.
She should be now.
Hi Chloe,
Yeah,
I'm
it is
proud of
now.
my culture and love getting involved in any activities where I can learn more. So I jumped at the chance to join with our team and run this live.
Well, today you're interviewing Uncle Warren Taggart, who from Wonnawurra country. Can you tell us why you have chosen to interview Uncle Warren?
Uncle Warren is a well-known elder in our local community who has heaps of knowledge on Aboriginal sites. He often takes students and community members on excursions to visit some. I thought it would be great to have him share some of his knowledge with us today.
Great, let's hear from him then.
Alrighty then. Hi Uncle Warren. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day to come in for a chat. Can you tell us a little bit
All
about
right.
yourself?
Yeah. Good morning, Chloe and Ruth, and all the listeners out there. Yes, I'm Uncle Warren. I'm an elder of the Wonnarua people. I'm not young anymore. I'm getting older and older. About myself, I've lived in Singleton all my life. I just about know our country all around through the back of Singleton, like the back of my hand. From there, I've got no idea.
Alrighty then. How have you learnt about the sites in our area?
How I've learnt about the sites in our area. When I was younger, I spent a lot of time with Dad out in the mountains and bush and that. My dad cut a lot of timber back in those days, and I was lucky enough to go with him. I spent more time out in the bush than in school, and he'd pull up work and away we'd go. We'd go walking up through the mountains, and he'd show me a lot of Aboriginal sites. So I've learned a lot through my dad and my grandparents.
I personally like going out on country and exploring with my friends and family. I've been told that you often explore lots of different places in our local area looking for Aboriginal sites. Can you tell us a little bit about why you do this and how?
Well, I got the grant from the Foundation for National Parks and Wildlife to help me to go out to the Aboriginal sites, the ones that I know of, to check them because of fire damage, and to record there's no damage done to them. But while the fires have been through there, they've asked me to check for new sites because it's opened up the mountains from the fires, and we can see a lot of sandstone plateaus, a lot of caves, what we need to go and check. And we're checking like old sites, and we have come across several new sites that no one has seen yet. So they've got to be all recorded of what's in them and where else they are.
Wow.
Do you have to get any permission to access certain sites, and if so, what protocols need to be taken first?
There's a lot of Aboriginal sites on private property, and the best way to attack that is by go to the property owner, tell them who you are and what you're doing, and if the property owner gives you permission, then you do the right thing. You know, you go up, you have a look at the site, do what we've got to do there, and then leave. But make sure when you're going back out, go to the property owner and say, look, thanks very much for allowing us to go through your property. But if they say no, it's no. You can't go on there.
So can you tell us about a cultural site that is nearby that is accessible to others without needing to get that permission?
There's several sites here. You've got the Finchley's mapping site up in the Yango Mountains. Finchley's mapping site is full of rock engravings from the Guardian to Mother Emu. There's a small engraving of a baby. There's spiritual figures, directional birds on one side, and if you cross the road on the other side, you've got grinding grooves, and the grinding grooves are where they've sat down and with a large rock and just ground it away to make their stone axes. And then when you go to Finchley's, you can go down through the camping area, and there's a cave down over to the right hand side that faces Mount Yango with all handprints in it. And then if you come back to the toilet in the camping area and walk directly down behind that, there's another cave with artwork down over the side of there.
Good. Can you give our listeners any ideas of how they can look for sites and what to look out for?
All right. Well, the best thing I can suggest is with your mum and dad, and you're out driving around or picnic up in the mountains and the bush and that, and you see a cave or a sandstone plateau, go and have a look. You've got nothing to lose, and you might just come across an Aboriginal site with a cave with artwork in it, or a sandstone plateau that's got rock engravings. But yeah, always have a look. Always be prepared to go, oh, mum, dad, stop, I want to go and have a look. Because you'll never know what you'll come across.
That's great. How would you encourage the kids of this generation to learn and care more about their culture?
Well, this goes on Aboriginals and non-Aboriginals to actually get involved with the community. And there's, for the non-Aboriginals, to learn more about the culture, but there is still Aboriginals out there that still don't know all their culture. So it needs to get them together to learn more, and you've got Aboriginal excursions that I do a lot of, day trips with me, with families and that, to show them what is still hidden out in the mountains There is so much stuff hidden in the mountains, but what makes it hard for a lot of people is getting there. People haven't got four-wheel drives, people haven't got that sort of gear to go into the mountains, where I have, and I have no problem taking people, staff, families out to these sites. I'm taking to a few because there's a lot of sites that no one goes to, no one sees. They're sort of very, very sacred sites where, no, people ask me, no, they're not, sorry, they can't go.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Uncle Warren. We better let you go now because we know you're a busy man and taking some people on an excursion after this interview.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruth and Uncle Warren. Now we're going to play a song by Jeffrey Garamai, Papa.
Done. That was good. Well done. Thank you. Look at Uncle Warren, he's trying to get eye contact with you. He's trying to get eye contact with you.
Kid, you're not looking at me.
He likes his eye contact done.
But it is, it's like a learning circle.
Is it?
You've got to make that eye contact.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
You going too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now is
The whole time through that.
Jesse.
I'm just looking at the thing, making sure everything right.
But it's not about saying all that. You did well.
I didn't know how to say his last one, so I was going up.
Yeah, that's okay. I think this one's actually this one. I think the other one's a bit pretty, but that's okay. We'll just like
What is it? Okay.
and then head down here a little bit.
Okay.
And then if you want to do play that one, you can just say yeah. That one.
Okay.
But then after that, we need to play more songs. You can just like choose the right one that you want.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Don't You're doing so well.
Song's almost over then.
Yeah, okay, very
You're right there.
Yeah, you need to put that on your talk show, okay?
Now I'm proud to introduce Paige Cuskelly from Year 7. Paige is a proud Wanneroo woman and is excited to be interviewing about her favourite sport today. Good morning, Paige. What is your favourite sport and who are you interviewing for us today?
Hi Chloe, my favourite sport is rugby league and I'm very excited to be interviewing Rebecca Young, who is a World Woman and NRL ambassador. Rebecca Young has a list of experience. Some of these are: she played for Indigenous Women's All-Star for 9 years and captained them in 2013, 17 and 19. She played for Indigenous Women's. She made her international debut in 2011 when she played for the Jillaroos touring Samoa. Rebecca has also played for Origin, representing New South Wales, Sydney Roosters, New South Wales Country and over 100 games for Newcastle. Rebecca has also played rugby union for the Wallaroos, Mayweather Carlton and Hunt Women's and New South Wales Country. Welcome Beck and thank you so much for joining us today. Do you mind if I call you Beck?
That's fine.
As a rugby player myself, I was inspired when I read about your story. Can you please tell me a bit about the struggle to have females recognised in footy and how it feels to know that this is starting to change?
Yeah, look, since I started footy over 10 years ago, a lot has changed, and it's mainly changed around the science behind the game. So I've had an opportunity to get great strength and conditioning coaches to work with us individually, really super elite coaches that have helped us along the way. So I think lots has changed with that exposure to the game. So once we start having a great quality of game on the field, then people start to take notice of us as women and girls out in the community. So with that exposure comes endorsements and sponsorships and money behind our game. And then with that obviously comes that next level of exposure into elite levels. So I guess the changes have been amazing since I first started. Originally, even playing for Australia for the Jillaroos, we didn't have the coat of arms on our jersey, and Gordon Tallis came to present our jerseys to us, and he actually pushed for us to get the coat of arms on our Australian jersey. So that was in 2011, and since then, like lots of women had struggled. So even back 20 years before that, women had to, you know, give away or sell their houses, sell their cars, sell things to get money to actually go to England and play in World Cups. And now to see that flip in elite level where we actually are contracted to play rugby league it's just been amazing, and I'm so proud to be a part of that.
It must be amazing to have played with the Indigenous Women's All-Star. Can you tell us what it meant to you personally to represent your culture?
Yeah, for me, representing the Indigenous All-Stars goes beyond any footy that I've ever played. So in 2017 I had the opportunity to captain the All-Stars, and it was here at home in Newcastle, and to be go out and play in front of my own mob, my own community, my friends, my family, on country, was probably my most memorable moment playing rugby league. And we actually had never beaten the Jillaroos, and that game at Newcastle in 2017 we actually beat them. So it sort of put us on the map as far as Indigenous women, and to show that we could compete against the elite level girls was probably a highlight of my career, definitely.
At first you played Union. Can you tell us about what happened to make the shift for you to NRL?
Yep, I've always played rugby league, but we only ever have an opportunity to play in the knockouts, so once a year on a weekend. And in Newcastle there's actually no women's programs, there's no girls or women's program playing rugby league. So my partner played for the Knights at that stage, and I had my first bub, and then I thought, you know what, I can't travel to Sydney anymore and keep playing sort of Friday nights rugby league and then Saturdays rugby union. So